Yo, what is good, ITF Mob? It is your boy Booba back with another video. And this week we will be doing at least in this video, we'll be doing the Friday weekly analysis or weekly overview or weekly review. Whatever I label it, because I notice I always change it from overview to review and then back to overview. So either or is okay. But basically, I'm gonna go over how things kind of played out over this week. And to be honest, like I got juked by the markets. I'm not gonna lie. I got juked by this markets. Again, if you guys are new to the channel, you'll know that I like to keep everything really transparent. So all the moves that I take throughout the week, you'll end up seeing every Friday. And then every Sunday I do my breakdowns. And then we just kind of keep it rolling Sunday, Friday, Sunday, Friday. At some point I want to do Wednesday lives, but right now with my situation, it's still kind of trying to get stabilized. So once that happens, then I'll be doing Wednesday lives to kind of get more in-depth information for trade setups and whatnot. But the setups that I took all this week, for some reason, like just never played out. And then the ones that I actually wanted to get into were the ones that played out without me really being there. So initially, the week starts off, we were right here in this zone. Price decided to throw a sell. I sold in this zone here. So if I drop to the hourly, we'll see right around, oh my God, that's a huge fly. A big fly above my setup. But yeah, so I sold around here. Price went in my favor. I thought it was ready to wipe out the swing low. And again, if you guys remember, starting from top down, the way I label everything so people know what these lines mean is I always have the weekly low, which is usually near bank level marked. So this is at 127 flat. This weekly high, it's at 137. So from this low to this high, this is what we see. This is where we see our current monthly candle. So we know that now this monthly candle opened down on the weekly. We had a candle that opened right where this previous one closed to the upside. So if I zoom in here, you'll see price on the last candle went up. Oh, excuse me, it went down first. So opened here, went down, spiked up, and then closed kind of bullish, but still an indecisive candle overall. Next candle opened for this week. It faked everybody out to the downside and then kept buying up throughout the week. So now seems like it bought once impulsively and now it's coming back down for sells. And then this next week, we might get another test down here. And if this low on this wick or this body respects, I'm just going to use this the red dotted lines. So just pay attention to that and focus on the current candle. So if the price closes above this next week, right above this body, then we know it's going to be a bullish weekly candle by the end of the week. But again, this week was just throwing me off because things were going side to side. And every time I kept looking for the UJ sells because we had been topping off from all this buying. So for me, I was thinking price was overbought and it was about ready for it to sell once it started breaking down into the structures. So we had a high here, we had a major low here, major high here, and a higher low here, and this respected. So this is what caused this buy to cause me to get wiped out because this low, when this price was selling, didn't break this candle or break the swing low. So once it closed, I actually should have just got out the trade, but I think I already had, I actually got bumped out of this because I thought it was really going to just play out. So then again, it comes back down, it breaks its structure, creates this low high situation. And here I'm thinking this is the actual entry now. If price maybe had came up and retested, and then now this is the new point of interest. And same thing, it went in my favor, closed back. By the time I look back, I'm stopped out. So this is honestly just what it was all week for me. And granted, I already have low equity on my test accounts. So basically, it's only going to get harder and harder to recover the account quicker because I'm under 1% of risk total now. So basically, what I do with my test, again, I always tell you guys, if you're not doing good in a test, it's totally okay. It's a normal thing because there are phases in trading where you'll have to trade because you're testing. And then during that phase, the market just may not be in the best conditions. So you'll probably find that you're just getting stopped out or getting faked out. That's a normal thing. It happens. It's a phase in the market. Most times, if you had already had the test account and you're pretty well rounded in that, you would just honestly not trade until something very clear shows up because you're just waiting to get paid. But since I'm actually having a test, I'm going to just, shoot my shot on moves And if I get hit out, it is what it is. Just make sure you're doing the math. So once I fall to a point where I need 1% more before I fail a test, right? What I do is I break it down. So then I start risking half that percent. So now I'm risking $500 for $1,300. If I win that one trade, that brings me back to where I have 2% for risk plus another 0.5%. And I could use that 0.5% to then recover to bring you back to 3%. 3% plus, because it'll be another 1,500 on top of that. So it'll go from 2,500 to 4,000. So basically it's a numbers game. And since my equity that's left is like 270, I don't have to, my test is not due till the 15th. So this weekend, I'm going to try to scalp on like Bitcoin and just see if I can bring it back. And then throughout the week, I'm going to try to use small percentages like 0.10s and 0.05s and scale it to the account to see if I can scalp it back up. If I can't, it's okay. And then I'll already be doing my next 100K test because I get paid on that next Tuesday. So this is a good example of how you can roll over your tests, where like if one's not going so well, you start setting aside money to get your next one. But make sure you're always doing a financial plan, because for me, I always set aside 20% of my income for investing, 30% for myself, 50% savings at all times. So that's how I keep things going, but it's just a little tip for you guys. So in that situation, we had GJ, where when we started off this week, GJ was at these lows, and I was talking about how like I was going to be waiting for price to retest my points of interest. So this was where our weekly low was at. This is where our weekly high was at from the previous week. And this week was pulling back up. And sure enough, I was in some buys. The buys ended up spiking, not on GJ, but I was in some buys on like AU. But the buys ended up getting to the point of interest and then selling back off. So you'll see here, and the reason why this even happened, again, price rises to the point of interest and then tests it. And once it tests and you had the double top, you could have dropped to your hour and found that break of structure. You could have found the break of structure. So this is a clean double top, and then just to sell off straight back down. So I missed this move. I was sick because I was like, this is literally the outline move I was looking for this week. And this wasn't one of the only pairs. Right here, GU did the same exact thing. So you can see here, I got in on a sell the night before. It literally just barely stopped out. And as it was coming back, I thought it was just going to start continuing up to this point of interest. But then by the time I looked back in the morning, it was just already down and out. So by the end of the week, it was just pulling back up. And this is just like, this is the reality of trading. Like, this stuff happens. And honestly, the sharper you are about being on at the times you need to be for your trade plan, the better you'll be about catching these larger moves, especially when it comes to lining it up with the things like the daily frames and whatnot. Because you have to remember, even though we're inside of 1 week candle, it breaks off at 4 o'clock every single day within all this movement up and down. So literally every time a daily candle is closing, like this, for example, 4 o'clock, this closed. This is the new one. And actually, excuse me, 4 o'clock, this closed. So the next one's going to open next to this. And then it's just going to either test this low, or it's just going to build up and consolidate and continue high. But you won't know unless you're down on like these 4-hour candles. So again, this does look still bullish. So this does look like a valid buy setup up to this point of interest again for a retest after this breakout situation. So literally, like, it's really all about playing it by ear and finding your breaks and structures for your entry, but making sure everything aligns from the top to bottom. So the best way is really being persistent about your times. So right here, we go over to AJ. It had the same situation where price pulled up from our weekly low and then hit the point of interest that we were looking at, and then bounced right off, shot back down, but it didn't completely collect all the liquidity down, and it respected the low and then got back out of there to come retest. So for me, if I'm looking at this on the daily, this looks like it's trying to buy. But if it retests this wick and respects and bounces, and we see a break of structure on our 4-hour, we'll know it's probably going to reverse. If it consolidates and price breaks out on the 4-hour and retest, we might see this be an entire bull flag for AJ. Like so. So we'll probably see like a breakout retest, and then price just buying up because of the monthly candle right here, right? Because we had the buying motion. So price had an open, shot up, close here, open, shot up, or open, went down first, shot up, close here. This is kind of same situation. Open, went down first, shot up, came up to here. Same thing here, shot down first, came up, close, and then same thing. So now this one looks like it's testing off this week, or it's testing off this week, but keep in mind this month, at the end of the 30 days, we should be on this side of the market if it wants to keep going bullish. So we'll only know if this week and then the following week respect that structure to keep going, which means this would have to keep breaking and creating higher highs and higher lows, which will look a little something like this. Just breaking past these points of interest, testing them, breaking through, testing, and getting out. So, it takes time, but that's just one way to look at it. And if price were to respect this, it would just double top, throw a wick maybe, and then drop. So we'll just play it by ear off that. And then what I'll be doing for next week is readjusting these weekly high and low, peak weekly high and low zones. So that way we know what the current or what the previous week's candle looks like. So basically I'll shift it to something like this. And then that way we'll know now we're playing within that range of this candle, and then see how that next weekly candle moves. So if we go down to what's it called, UJ, or actually no, not even. There's one more I'm missing here. I think it was AU that I didn't get, because AU was one of the ones that I definitely was trying to sell. See, yeah, right here, or excuse me, buy too. I was trying to buy this literally right after I made that video, and I was buying it off of this zone. If you guys remembered, price was in this liquidity zone, and I was assuming that this bullish engulfing was fair, right? Which is valid. Again, like I say, sometimes you'll be there at a time and the setup looks valid, but it isn't valid, and that's just part of trading here. So here, that looked like a bullish engulfing for me. Next one didn't respect, it completely engulfed it, and I closed out early. Price spikes out, wipes everybody out, because this is what the market does. There was a lot of buyers down here, and that was why they spiked to get most of the contracts. So they got most of the contracts. Now they have collected money, and now they're able to start taking the market back up to the upside to collect contracts this way. So ultimately, me at the time, I'm like, it's Sunday. I don't think it's going to rip and go off like that right away. And sure enough, when I seen this selling behavior, I was already just discouraged at even wanting to look at that point, and just like, all right, let me ignore it and then maybe come back later and then that buy will be ready. Nope, it wiped me out and then took off right away. So by that time, I was like, okay, let me wait for the sell. And the sell set up in a way that I didn't catch it. So we'll see here, which is totally okay. Again, that's just part of trading. Like to catch moves consistently, you have to be very, very sharp. It's not a market that you just kind of come and can be lazy in all the time. Maybe you might get lucky here and there, but don't let that, boost your ego too. So here we see this is a liquidity pool that they came back to collect when it bought. So once they got in here, they double topped, and then they kind of wiped out all the profits coming back from the buys here. And this played into the daily candle, because that daily candle popped off and it was ready to rip. So this buy was really what the start of the week was. We'll see it here. At the start of the week, it shot down, then it came back all the way up here. So it did like 3 different movements where you could have profited 3 different ways: off this buy, off this sell, and then off the buy back up once it got back into the green weekly zone. Especially when it creates a high low. Like once you have this buy and then this respects it, that's a valid entry. But again, you never know how high these types of scalp moves will go, or even sometimes the swing moves. Like somebody would have thought this was a full swing, been holding till the rest of the week, came back and seen most of their profits gone. So it's like, this is the time of the year the consolidative behavior happens. But when you can come and grab these pieces of the market, like I was trying to here, because even when it came down and tested here, this to me looked like it was going to be a sell-off, because when price came and created this low high, price came to this created this high low, which insinuated a buy. But once this came up and didn't break these highs and came down and bearish engulfed, to me, that came off as a sell. So this next candle came up and respected the previous high, which gave more incentive to sell it. And that next candle played into that motion. But then once it came back and respected these lows, that was when we knew the buyers were actually in control. So once price closed back above these wicks, that was a valid time to basically pull the trigger on that trade setup. So I just got in a little bit too early, which is, again, it's okay. It happens. You just got to do the math. So all week, I literally got bumped out and didn't catch certain moves that I had outlooks for. And again, that's normal for most traders. Like, traders will go through weeks and days that stuff happens. So ultimately, if you can get to the next week, that's all that matters. And just knowing how to risk manage, so that way you can scale up over time. But that's all. That's gonna do it for today. I'm gonna come back and clean up these charts for next week, so that way we can get the ball rolling. I'm gonna keep a lot of the high time frame lines all the same, and then we'll just rework all the stuff on the inside as far as the points of interest and everything. And then this week, gotta make a killing. So again, I hope you guys do enjoy the content. Please drop any feedback in the comment section. Any support is greatly appreciated. It is also my birthday today, so big shout out to me. I'm actually 24 years old. It is about that time. This is that Kobe year for me. So I'm definitely trying to dial in and you know, just try to make the best of this year and really trying to enjoy life, because not a lot of people see this age, and a lot of people die before they even reach 20. So it's definitely a blessing to even be alive and be doing what I'm even doing right now. Granted that it's not lit or popping or anything like that. I'm just, you know, the fact that I'm even making this video shows how much I do have a passion for doing something like this. Otherwise, I just wouldn't even be posting videos at all. So again, any comment, you guys can always feel free to comment, whatever. Let me know, give me any feedback. I'm always here for constructive criticism, because I'm just trying to get, you know, I'm just trying to make the channel more enjoyable for people that come through. But otherwise, you guys have a great weekend. Definitely stay tuned for that Sunday weekly analysis, and we're gonna try to go ham next week. So much appreciated. Peace out, y'all.